Imagine taking a vacation to a whole new world. Not just a different country, but a whole new planet. And the best part? You don't have to be a trained astronaut or go through any intense training. That's right, space tourism is about to become a reality. So how is this possible? Who's making it happen? And what's the cost? Get ready for the answers, because today we're diving into the exciting world of space tourism. 3 visionaries are leading the charge. First, there's Richard Branson, the billionaire behind the Virgin Group and his space tourism company Virgin Galactic. Then there's Jeff Bezos, the mastermind behind Amazon and his space tourism company Blue Origin. And last but not least, we have Elon Musk, the owner of SpaceX. It's a neck-and-neck race between the first two to see who will be the first person in the world to travel to space in their own rocket. Step into the future of space travel with the world's first man to reach space in his own spacecraft. Jeff Bezos made the announcement that he would attempt this feat on July 20th, 2022. But little did he know, Richard Branson had other plans. Branson jumped ahead of the competition, setting out on his mission on July 11, 2022. Aboard his Unity spacecraft, with 2 pilots and 3 other crew members, Branson embarked on a journey unlike any other. And the mission was a resounding success. But what made this feat so unique? Branson didn't take off from a traditional rocket launch pad like you normally see in films. Instead, he took off in a space plane, a special kind of airplane that can reach the stratosphere. The Unity spacecraft was attached to a mother aircraft, and both took off from the runway together. Once they reached 50,000 feet, the Unity detached and soared towards space at supersonic speed. What exactly does reaching space mean? It means reaching an altitude of 88 kilometers above the Earth's surface, where you can see the curvature of the planet and experience weightlessness, just like astronauts do. Unfortunately, the Unity spacecraft doesn't remain at that height for long. This weightlessness can be experienced for only 4 minutes on this Virgin Galactic flight. After that, this plane starts its descent and lands on the runway like a normal airplane. It takes only an hour to complete this journey. And the part from the detaching of the space plane, reaching the top to landing back takes only 15 minutes. So it's not a very long journey. We could see all the photos and videos because Richard Branson live-streamed his test flight on the internet. Another interesting thing, among the 6 crew members, 1 was an Indian-born woman. This incident is historic for many reasons, even though Richard Branson wasn't the first private civilian to go to space. Dennis Tito, an American entrepreneur, had paid $20 million to be able to sit with the astronauts in the rocket to fly to the International Space Station and stay for 8 days. But that was different, because he was going with the astronauts in an actual rocket. But you can think of this as a private airplane. For this reason, you may think that Richard Branson didn't actually go to space. If you do, then you wouldn't be the first person to think that. Jeff Bezos' space company Blue Origin, they mocked this on Twitter. They said that there will be an asterisk next to Richard Branson's name because he went up to the height of 88 kilometers only. When globally, most scientists believe that space actually begins at the height of 100 kilometers. This 100 kilometers line is known as the Kármán line. Internationally, the astronauts organization in European countries, they believe that this line at 100 kilometers is the official boundary between our atmosphere and space. But in the USA, the US government and NASA believe that the boundary between the atmosphere and space starts at the height of 80 kilometers. So in the defense of Richard Branson, it can be said that according to the US standards, he has gone into space, but not according to the international standards. That's why Jeff Bezos' company mocked him. And now when Jeff Bezos will attempt to go to space on the 20th of July, he will try to cross this line at 100 kilometers. The difference is very critical here. When Jeff Bezos will attempt it, it will be in the spacecraft built by his company that's like a rocket. His company claims that not only will they reach beyond 100 kilometers, but also that the windows on this spacecraft will be huge, so that you can enjoy watching the Earth. But the windows on the Virgin Galactic spaceplane were of the size of an aeroplane's window, and so quite small. Second, Blue Origin claimed that their spacecraft will have an escape system that was missing in the Virgin Galactic spacecraft. Third, they claim that their rocket will not have an environmental impact because they'll use environment-friendly fuel. The exhaust will be only water. But in the case of Virgin Galactic, nitrous oxide, which is very harmful, is being released. it is very damaging to the environment. But one ticket was auctioned in June that was sold for $28 million. Same with Elon Musk's SpaceX. One ticket was auctioned that sold for $55 million. But that's a bit different because they're proper rockets. And it's possible that Elon Musk's flight may take you to the International Space Station to travel. And the ticket cost obviously includes the training and on-flight accommodation. In the beginning, when I had said that no training is required, I meant that one wouldn't need astronaut-level training to do this. But you'd still be given some basic training about how you should behave in zero gravity and what you should do in case of any emergencies. You'd obviously be told all this. Some people may be scared because they'd be undertaking a new thing and going to space. They may lose their lives if there is any technical problem. So how realistic is it to be scared of it? It is very realistic because you're going to space, so it hasn't been tried out enough. If you do this next year, you'd be one of the first people to do so. Therefore, there are many risks. Even Richard Branson acknowledges this. He had revealed his intention of building a spaceplane in 2004. He thought space tourism would be possible by 2007. But after so many problems and hurdles, one of his test flights crashed in 2014, in which some people were even killed. This was finally ready in 2021. His test flight has been successful, but there are many risk factors apart from the flight crashing. Because generally, when astronauts go into space, they are given severe training to do so. But when space tourists will go to space, they will not undergo any health checkup or fitness checkup, so we don't know what problems they may have to face. Additionally, the impact of zero gravity on the human body has never been studied in the long term, because space travel is a very recent phenomenon. Additionally, the G-force that you'd have to face and the radiation at that level may be quite high. These are also some factors, though the Federal Aviation Administration of the USA has said that the radiation that you might experience at that height will be insignificant and not a cause for worry. Many people have criticized all three billionaires on this point, that space tourism will be something that only the rich can afford. Only the top 0.1% of people. But it will lead to so much pollution, and the environmental impact of this will be so large that it is very disproportionate. The other people will not get the opportunity to do this, but the environmental impact on the Earth will have to be borne by the others as well. Talking about Virgin Galactic, the CO2 emissions in a normal flight per passenger per mile is at 0.2 kilograms. Here you'd get 12 kilograms of CO2 emissions, a difference of 60 times. Apart from this, nitrous oxide, when it'll be released into our atmosphere, it will lead to ozone depletion. You've learned in school how important the ozone layer is in our atmosphere. It protects us from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. The second problem is that when these rockets take off from the land, so much heat is generated that the ozone levels increase at ground level. Ozone near the surface is useless. Higher in the atmosphere it is beneficial. An increase in ozone at the ground level will be harmful to us. Losing ozone from the ozone layer will be harmful to us, and this will be the result of space tourism. Ozone will increase near the surface and decrease from the atmosphere. In the case of Jeff Bezos too, even if no harmful gases are emitted from his rocket, when it takes off from the ground, it will lead to a lot of heat being generated. This again leads to a threat to the ozone levels. These are some points that we'd have to remember in the near future, when space tourism will become more common. And these billionaires will have to come up with their solution.